It's Thursday, the 17th of February 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
All right, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get into it. Story number 1, Sean. We're kind of combining 3 into one here because 3 top 20 companies all reported their profit results yesterday. CSL's share price jumped nearly 9%.
Yes, that's because it upgraded its profit guidance. It looks like Australia's biggest healthcare company is back on track. It's had a pretty rough COVID. The blood plasma group hasn't been able to collect the amounts of blood that it normally would in a non-COVID world. The boss, Paul Perot, yesterday said things were getting back to normal. It's a massive company, this one. Net profit was $2.5 billion. It makes revenue of about $8.4 billion. Another one to report yesterday was Fortescue Metals. It cut its dividend after announcing a 32% drop in net profit. Now, what's that mean for Andrew Forrest? Well, he's making about $967 million in dividends rather than the $1.6 billion he made last year. The problem for Fortescue, a higher labour, fuel and shipping costs. We're seeing that all earnings season. Finally, oil and gas giant Santos said its underlying profit tripled for the full year to the end of December. Why was that? Oil and gas prices. It's amazing how much these big mining and exploration companies rely on commodity prices.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, story number 2, Sean. This is a pretty amazing story. It involves sex, it involves drugs, and it involves business. In particular, a small ASX-listed company called Lark Distilling.
Yes, the CEO of the whiskey maker, Jeff Bainbridge, quit to manage a personal matter. Now, that personal matter is an alleged case of international extortion involving an explicit video in which Mr. Bainbridge appears to be smoking a methamphetamine pipe. The video was obtained by the Australian newspaper on Tuesday night. On it, Mr. Bainbridge appears to talk about getting high and engaging in sexual activities. Now, he's a co-founder of burger chain Grilled. That's why he's best known. He released a statement yesterday saying he attended a gathering during a visit to Southeast Asia. He doesn't remember much of it, but footage emerged the following day. He said he'd been the subject of a sophisticated, continuing and recently escalated extortion. Now, he's already paid some money to the extortionists, but obviously yesterday he stepped down and Lark's share price fell 20%. Not a very typical business story, Michael.
No, it's not, but it certainly does have everything. Story number 3 today, Sean, bit of a leading question. Tell me what was happening in Canberra yesterday.
Well, plenty of argy-bargy. We're seeing that, of course, with an election less than 3 months away. Prime Minister Scott Morrison on Tuesday made a song and dance about passing laws to make it easier to deport foreign criminals, but yesterday Immigration Minister Alex Hawke said couldn't be done, at least not before the next election. The Prime Minister is also under fire over reports he was going to sack stood-aside Cabinet Minister Alan Tudge, who had an affair with his public relations manager and allegedly was verbally abusive. Mr. Morrison said he hadn't decided what to do. The coalition is pushing the line that if you vote for Labor, they're in cahoots with the Greens, so you get both. And there's plenty of debate about aged care deaths and whether China is supporting the ALP or not.
So just another normal day in Canberra, really, isn't it?
Yes, but it is heating up somewhat just because of the election that's coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, story number 4, and some bad news, I suppose, for wine drinkers, with the price of some wines set to rise.
Wine drinkers like you, Michael, because really it's going to be high-end wines. So Treasury Wines reported yesterday they're trying to control their costs because rising supply chain costs are pushing through to their bottom line. So what they said is they're going to go out and push up the prices of some of their high-end wines. So New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc was one of the examples. Now, of course, last year, Treasury was hit by tariffs from China. It hasn't really fully recovered from that. It's still not selling as much overseas as it did pre the Chinese tariffs, but it is certainly going to start pushing up high-end wine prices. It's had a rough year, but investors like what it's doing at the moment, and its share price jumped 12% yesterday. That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Okay, story number 5, last one for today. ANZ, Sean, has upped its forecasts for house prices this year.
Yes, it sure has, but it's not all good news, Michael, because ANZ also expects house prices to fall next year. Now, the lender forecasts Brisbane prices will jump 16% this year, Adelaide will rise 11%, Sydney, Canberra and Hobart 9%, Melbourne 5%, and Perth and Darwin 3%. But by the end of this year, most economists think interest rates will be higher, and that will take the steam out of the housing market in 2023.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Thursday, the 17th of February, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.